Welcome back to another episode of the Outsider Sports Baseball Podcast. Corey, Jason, John, Pauline, Dylan, Mel. Guys, it's good to be back. Wasn't here last week. I was off on a bachelor party for one of my friends. Really, really fun.
When you told us in the pre-recording that you were in Disney, I did not anticipate that you were at a bachelor party.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't my choice, obviously, but my buddy wanted to go with a group of us, so we went.
Didn't you go to Disney for a bachelor party last year or a couple of years ago?
I went to LA a couple months ago on a separate bachelor party, and we just happened to go to Disneyland one of the days because my friend gets free tickets because he works for the match.
That makes more sense. My thing is full bachelor party in Disney World.
Well, we spent one day in Universal.
I mean, I know we keep it a PG show, but I don't know about those special dancing clubs with the Disney characters. I don't know if that's the vibe.
No, I mean,
Daisy Duck, Minnie Mouse, put on a show.
I can confirm that there was no show with the Minnie and
come
Mickey
on. His fiance does not listen to the podcast.
No, and neither does he. But there was definitely no funny business in Disney, although I was streaming the Yankee game while I'm waiting online. And so that was fun for one of the nights. And the Yankee game last Wednesday coincided directly with my flight down to Florida. Mm-hmm. So I bought the internet on my flight and just watched Yankees-Rangers. ERC pitched a nice game.
Mm-hmm.
So that worked out well. But we're back.
Just like Anthony Volpe. You're back.
And who knows if that's better or not. But we do have a couple more RIPs. You guys touched on John Sterling last week. That one sucked. I didn't really get to say too much. But that one hurts. That one's right in the childhood right there. Adding into it, you have Bobby Cox, the Hall of Famer, and Ted Turner, the former Braves owner and one-time manager. It's a sad, sad week in baseball, losing three titans of the sport. Cox already into the Hall of Fame. Sterling should be, and I'm sure he will be soon. Ted Turner has done so much in so many different avenues. There's not really one Hall of Fame that can hold him.
Yeah.
But then some other funny business happened. I don't know if you guys saw this, but Orioles manager Craig Albertez, he almost got hit by a line drive from Pete Alonso. And this is a few weeks after he did take a line drive off the face and needed stitches, and he looked all messed up. So after another near miss, he ended up putting on a catcher's mask and taking a catcher's mitt out while he was leaning on the dugout, just in case there's any more action near him.
Fair enough.
Always nice to see a manager with a little sense of humor.
I mean, when your team's as bad as the Orioles is, you better laugh at something.
And now we do have a couple trades. Trade season starting. Big surprise. The Giants sent Patrick Bailey to Cleveland, the catcher. In return, they got Matt Wilkinson plus a competitive balance round pick A, which is going to be the number 29 pick, to San Fran. Baseball being able to trade draft picks is relatively new as of the last couple years. And I believe
Howard was on to it.
But I believe it's only the competitive picks you can trade, not your actual round picks.
Yeah, I believe so.
What do we think of that trade, and what do we think of, Naylor's future behind the plate now in Cleveland?
Yeah, the first thing that caught my eye was just because of the conversation me and John had last week about the Giants on, if this team would get into sell mode, and kind of seems like they're getting into sell mode. So we kind of hit the nail on the head there. It's just the Giants have so many immovable contracts that Patrick Bailey might be one of the few guys that they actually can move off of at this point. For Cleveland, I don't know what it says fully about Naylor's role behind the plate. I don't think Patrick Bailey is a guy that absolutely has to play all the time, but I do think that it gives the Guardians some flexibility if they wanted to move off of a Stephen Kwan at the deadline, personally, because then you can move DeLauder into the outfield and Naylor as your DH if you wanted to have things go that way. Or if they don't get a good enough offer and they're like, hey, Scooble's out, division could be ours, we're just going to go in this year. Bailey and Naylor can kind of alternate as catcher depending on the matchup, the pitcher, etc.
I think we're moving towards the second Naylor being kicked out of Cleveland. Obviously, his brother Josh traded away. I think they're kind of done with both of them. Neither one of them ever developed into the star that they kind of thought they had. And now with Josh over in Seattle, Bo might be destined for another spot. Not Seattle, who has Cal Raleigh there, but Bo has not developed.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, there's going to be plenty of teams that are willing to take on a developmental piece, especially teams that are not having success right now, or the future is kind of where they better sit. You know, you think about a team like the Angels, you think about a team like the Rockies. Hell, he maybe even could throw Boston in the mix at this point.
Francisco Alvarez looks like he's hurt. The Mets could use a catcher.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But then when he gets back, it's like, you know, does Houston, are they willing to move off of Yainer Diaz, perhaps?
There's going to be a market out there for catchers.
Mm-hmm.
Now the Dodgers are going to Dodger. They made a trade. They got outfielder Alek Thomas from Arizona for 17-year-old outfielder Jose Requena. He has not made his professional debut yet. He was just part of last year's international free agency class. Alek Thomas, very solid player. We were surprised when he got demoted, and now the move here.
Should we predict which series he'll have a clutch RBI hit to win the Dodgers a game in?
I'm assuming his very first series with Dodgers.
Oh, I meant playoff series.
Series?
Like divisional round, you know, NLCS, World Series.
When's it coming? Whichever one they play the Padres in, because that'll just be the nail in the coffin.
The Diamondbacks ended the Padres season.
Yeah, that's going to be the one.
Fair enough.
Now, do we put much actual stake into this trade, or
low risk, high reward?
Yep.
The Dodgers, sneaky enough, have one of the best farm systems in baseball. They can afford to move off of the prospect, and they, you know, I don't want to say need talent now, but their window is now, and they haven't been shy about, hey, if we can get talent for cheap, or if we can get talent and it makes sense, we're going to do it, because you never know when you're going to need somebody. Baseball's got injuries. You know, some guys go cold, they get out of the lineup, whatever it may be. So this is just a very Los Angeles Dodgers move. And even if this guy is sitting on the bench, to have a player with as much upside as Alek Thomas on your bench is just Dodgers-esque.
Yeah, it's just one of these things where you like people get hurt on the Dodgers, they just don't miss a beat because they just have a guy waiting and ready to go.
So it's really impressive how they could just keep building depth, and not just like bad depth or just generic depth, like top of the line, high, no risk, high reward type players who always seem to pay off.
Yep.
But let's talk some teams now. Let's start off with the worst team in baseball.
Who someone picked to, was it go to the World Series, or
I think it might have been win it.
Win it?
I think it might have been to win the World Series.
We don't need to talk about that, because hopefully it's looking like one of my other picks might be right in that division.
Hey, at least they have Nolan McLean.
They do. Mets 2-3 since the last episode. 1-1 versus Colorado. 1-2 versus Arizona. They are 15-25 overall. 5-5 in their last 10. So some improvement there. 12.5 games back of the division. 8 games back of the wild card. A -31 run differential. They're fifth, or I should also say last in the NL East. They have the worst record in baseball. and they're the only team in baseball on pace for 100 losses.
And they have one of the biggest payrolls.
Yeah, I mean, goes to show. We talked about this. You have to have the knowledge. It can't just be the money. I played this game with John last week, Corey. I don't know if you have the Mets stats pulled up in front of you, but any guesses as to who leads their team in batting average? And Juan Soto has not played enough games to qualify.
Is it Brett Beatty?
Nope, it is Francisco Alvarez,
Who
catcher,
just got
who
hurt?
just got hurt. Would you guess his batting average is over or under 240?
I mean, the way you're asking, I would say under.
It is over 241. Got John the same way last week.
I think it was two. I feel like it was.
Oh, because it was lower, because it was
yeah,
Bo
like,
Bichette.
It was 239.
Yeah, because Bo
it was-
Bichette was lower. So
yeah.
Alvarez passed him by. Who do you think leads the team in home runs?
On home runs for the Mets, I'm going to say
Hint, not an everyday player.
no. This is such a tough one. Is it Vientos?
It is Mark Vientos with 5.
And that's how much I would have guessed if you had asked.
Bo Bichette leads the team in RBIs. Any guesses? Well, he's
19?
tied for the lead. Nope, not 19. Too high. 17. He has a negative half WAR, does Bo Bichette. Negative.
I was talking to one of my friends who's a Met fan about their issues, and I think we kind of settled on what the main problem is. They have no leadership. Time and time again, Francisco Lindor has shown as a Met that he's not capable of being a leader. He's not a good one. If anything, he is what you don't want in a leader because he's adversarial to the fans and to his teammates. Juan Soto has shown everywhere that he doesn't want to be the guy. He wants to comfortably be a number 2 where he doesn't have to worry about leading a locker room. He didn't do that in Washington. He didn't do it in San Diego. He certainly didn't do it on Judge's Yankees. And he thought he wasn't going to have to do it with Lindor's Mets. But now that you take both of those guys out of the equation, the Mets trade away Nimmo, who was their de facto captain. They get rid of Alonso, who was the number 2 and a big locker room guy, and Jeff McNeil, who's been there longer than just about anybody. What does that leave them? That leaves them with no leadership, no culture. You can have the greatest players in the league.
And let alone, by the way, the fact that Lindor and Soto don't get along.
Right.
Like, you don't have good leadership, but your two best players don't like each other.
So with all that taken into account, you can have the best player at every position, and it's just not going to work if there's no chemistry, no camaraderie. And that's what's going to hold the Mets back.
The craziest thing about the Mets is they can get worse. They have 3 starting pitchers with a sub 3.2 ERA. 2 of them have 50-plus strikeouts. Clay Holmes has a 1.86 ERA. McLean, 2.78. Peralta, 3.1, who's probably going to be traded at the deadline because, the Mets should get whatever value they can for him. He's on a 1-year deal. But if those guys start to falter, especially Clay Holmes, who did in the second half of last year, and McLean, who's never pitched as many innings as the Mets are going to ask him to this season, if the bats don't turn it around, it could get worse.
It's so hard to predict it getting worse for the Mets because they do have so much talent.
Like, your guess is, like, as the pitching goes down, the hitting goes up, and then
You would
they never
assume,
get
yeah.
right this season. But that was kind of the story of last season, just not as bad as this season.
They just
If
called
I
up
gave
another
you the-
prospect too.
They
Yeah,
did.
the number 2 prospect. He was
Was he
actually
in?
pretty solid tonight, though. 2
2
walks and a
RBIs.
triple.
Yeah.
If I gave you the over-under for the Mets to end the season at 74 wins,
I mean, it's a good line. I'll say that. Let's see. They have a 39 win percentage right now. Times that by 162. No, not divide. They should theoretically finish with 63 wins currently.
do you think that's going to be the case? Do they get a little hotter?
74 is a good line. If you had said 70, I probably would have taken the over. but I think at 74, I kind of lean under at this point in time. I think it's probably a 71 to 72, 73 win team.
John?
I mean, I really don't like the Mets, but I'd take the over. I just feel like
I just also
they have
think
a
they're
lot
going to
of
be
talent.
sellers. I just think they're going to be sellers, though.
Who knows?
Like I think Peralta is
Well,
going to be moved.
That's true. But I just
I mean,
think there's a lot
Peralta.
of. I think there's just a lot of teams right now, like worse teams that are like they're playing that are just like overperforming right now, and I think they're gonna start falling off. And I think the Mets talent. I mean, they still have talent on their team, like hitting wise. So I think
They
they
have
can get
guys
74,
who have
75. Yeah.
been talented in the past.
Well, I don't think Bo Bichette's gonna be this bad all season. Like I don't think.
I also don't think Clay Holmes is going to be this good all season.
So
I don't know. Like, because again, like they're on pace to win. What did I say? 63 games. Like they have to outpace by 12 wins where they're currently at. So I think that they get a little bit better, but I
think they're definitely 70 wins though.
I don't see momentum shifting much more positively for this team.
If they're going to be sellers, right? We know Peralta. Do we think they move on from a Clay Holmes who has, one more year left after this?
I mean, I think if there's a team interested.
Do they move? When do we start hearing possible Lindor trade talks?
Today.
Yeah.
I mean, right?
Like realistic trade talks.
I think realistically it should already be happening internally. I mean, you already blew up every single past piece of the Mets from the last half decade. Might as well get rid of the guy that's still there causing problems.
It's just weird because they got rid of their whole core and then kept, I think, the one person there that was kind of causing the rift between your last core.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Lindor was the best player there, so I get it, but he's no longer the best player there. That's Juan Soto. So now your best player doesn't get along with Lindor.
Now, with Lindor, like, what type of market would he have? Obviously, the inflated contract, the locker room issues.
I think it depends on what these GMs think is going to happen in terms of a lockout and a salary cap. I think that will dictate his market. I think if GMs kind of were operating as if there'd be no salary cap, then you'd see the top tier teams, whether it's top tier teams in terms of money, whether it is the Dodgers, whether it is the Yankees, whether it is the Blue Jays, make the call because they have the money to spend and potentially lose. Now you start to risk reward it. I don't see Toronto being in because they're not having a great season. I don't see Boston being in because they're not having a great season. And I think the Yankees could be in, potentially. I think you could also have a team, like Cleveland or the White Sox kind of come out of left field and make a play. Do you see one of these NL Central teams that's trying to make a push, make a play? Potentially, but I don't think the market – I don't think what the Mets get in return is as good as it would have been had we not had questions of a potential salary cap.
I think also just the way he's perceived league-wide around the locker room is going to depress his value. The contract, you always see these inflated contracts not bring the return that you would have once thought. And I think if teams do think there will be a salary cap, they also think there'll be like a grandfather, position where some of these higher payroll teams might want to get a Lindor under contract now.
Well, I will say this. He does make sense for the Yankees, right? Their window's clearly now. The AL's open. They could use a leadoff hitter. He's a switch bat. He's going, what his track record is when June starts to hit, the bat starts to go.
And I believe there's probably two teams that have the culture to take in a player that is a cancer in the worst possibility. Like in the very worst perception of Lindor, the Yankees and Dodgers probably have the only established cultures that could bring in a player like that and it not cause issues.
I mean, I don't know if I'd go that far.
No, I'm again not calling Lindor a cancer, but I'm saying in the worst possible perception.
If he is the worst version of himself, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that there is something to, even if a play like Lindor, I think walks around the Mets like he's the guy. And I don't think he'd walk around his next team like he's the guy if that team also had a star bigger or as big as him.
Right. And that's kind of what I'm getting at. And then you do have that established culture just organizationally from the top to the bottom, having that one mission with a guy who is the leader of the team already established.
And if you're the Mets, like you would be fine getting off of Lindor. I feel like we get to closer to the deadline, and this team is still statistically record-wise the worst team in baseball. I think pulling the plug on the Lindor-Soto duo and going young is almost the way to go, personally.
It doesn't help that the Mets farm system isn't great.
Well, that's where Peralta, Holmes, Lindor. There you go. Like with that, you'll have a pretty good farm system if you're asking for prospects and not MLB ready guys. Obviously, I'm thinking with a Yankee lens, but a Volpe, Spencer Jones, a pitcher would be the market for Lindor.
And then obviously when it comes to contracts like that, the lesser prospects you take in, the more money the other team will take on.
Yeah.
So if the Mets want the better prospects, just like they did with Scherzer and Verlander, they're going to have to take on lesser packages to move off that money.
Yeah, and I don't see that being an issue per se for Cullen.
Because what the Mets did then was they ate more of the money with those pitchers to get the better prospects.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move on, though, to a team that was once tied with the Mets down at the bottom. And now they are part of a 3-team tie for second in the National League East. The Phillies 4-2 since last week. They went 2-1 versus the A's, 2-1 versus the Rockies. They are 19-22, 7-3 in their last 10. 9 games back of the Braves.
They're 20-22, actually.
But I guess I should say prior to today's games.
Yes.
They were 9 games back of the Braves, 4.5 games back of the wild card, a -32 run differential, and they are tied with Miami and Washington for second in the NL East. John, this has been a pretty solid turnaround for the Phils.
Yeah, I believe 4 straight series wins going on. I mean, you have everyone's hitting now. Bryson Stott's hitting. Bohm's back to hitting. I mean, I don't know what they look like the team that I thought they were going to be.
Yeah, I mean, you have a team that has had plenty of repertoire together. You have a team that has plenty of talent that's proven an ability to play together. The expectation was eventually they would turn it around. Now, is it coming necessarily from everybody that we thought it would be? I don't know. If you had told me in May that Brandon Marsh was going to have the highest WAR on the team, I probably would have told you you're a little crazy. But here we are. Yeah, I mean, but here we are. He's picked up some of the slack while some of the other guys have come along. And that's huge for them to stay afloat at 500. Kyle Schwarber leads baseball in home runs. And he's batting .230 now, by the way, which somebody a couple weeks ago said that on this podcast he needed to get that average back up there and was told he's crazy. He's not going to bat around there. Well, now he is. And Christopher Sanchez is an absolute unit. And Zach Wheeler is looking excellent.
Yeah.
Why is it that whenever the Phillies fire their manager, they just always seem to play really, really well?
It puts a fire.
This is a team that lives and dies with momentum. That's why.
once they lose that momentum, it's over. So they just got to
Like,
keep
this
going.
is a team that when they're hot can be as hot as can be. This is a team that when they're cold can be as cold as can be. Luckily for the Phillies, it's been more hot than cold the last half decade, but hasn't been hot enough. So
I mean, do you think this is just a hot streak and they'll fall back down? Like,
I think
what are the Phillies?
I think they'll have ups and downs. I think this year they're a wild card team just because Atlanta is nasty. But when you look at the wild card right now, they're 4 games back. Do you anticipate the NL Central stays as good as it has? I don't know. They're probably the 6th seed because I think San Diego or LA will stay ahead of them. And then I think Milwaukee or Chicago at this point will stay ahead of them. So they got to worry about passing Arizona, Cincinnati, and Pittsburgh and St. Louis.
Ben's Reds are a menace.
Yeah, I mean, listen, St. Louis is in right now. Pittsburgh's bad. I think Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, one of those 2 teams will be headed to the postseason and the other one will not.
Isn't it crazy how every team in the NL Central has a winning record?
Yeah, we had mentioned this last week, but some people were too busy at these bachelor parties in Disney World. But yeah, it is pretty crazy.
It's also the fact that you seem to talk back like the Phillies are gonna make the playoffs and stuff while you sit here and pick the Mets winning the World Series. Like you just and you're over here saying
the Phillies to miss the playoffs.
Yeah. This is
so there's still a chance I'll be right.
I don't know about you maybe half right.
I didn't. One of those takes could be correct. The other one has been laid to burial.
The only thing, with the Phillies right now, I worry about is Painter has not looked very good his past couple starts, and I'm wondering if
Trevor Bauer coming your guys' way.
That's right.
Hey, a little in-division trade. Could you guys get Freddie Peralta?
I don't know what they'd be able to give up.
Andrew Painter.
I'm just glad nobody's bringing up my Boston to win the AL East also.
Well,
I think we were all kind of high
on
Boston, though.
Some of us higher than others.
Yeah.
Some of us believed in the Yankees. None of us believed in the Rays, but I digress.
I think that's the biggest.
For the Phillies, man, you like what you've been seeing. 3-game win streak, 7-3 in their last 10. Still a negative 31 run differential.
That'll start to whittle down though as the season goes on.
Yeah, you hope so. The run scored still has to come up. I'm interested to see what this team looks like over the next month.
Right now, I'm more concerned about them getting to 500 and then getting over 500 and kind of staying there.
Yeah,
more than the run differential. And that'll go down as
they got a really big week, stretch of games starting May 25th all the way through June 4th. 3-game set at San Diego, 3-game set at LA, 3-game set versus San Diego at home.
That's a gauntlet.
Their record on June 5th is going to be one I'm very interested to see.
I think pitching depth is what's going to make or break the Phillies because we know what their offense is. What does that back end of the rotation look like? Bullpen's been a massive issue over the last years for Philly. Even finally getting a closer in Duran.
Yeah.
What does that look like? How overtaxed do their arms get? Can they, weather the storm of a big, 9-game set series there? Yeah. What will Philly's situation look like pitching wise, come the summer? Because you have a lot of older arms, Wheeler, Nola.
Still can go the innings though. Wheeler just pitched I think 8 1/3 innings tonight.
But can he handle that over a long stretch, especially coming off of that injury?
I don't see why not. I feel like he totally can. Sanchez, workhorse.
Sanchez looking amazing.
Sanchez workhorse. I mean, Nola's hit or miss. Luzardo.
I think Luzardo's got a steady.
It's really Luzardo right now. He has to steady now too. He's up there with. I've read about him. I'm thinking about Painter having bad. Luzardo's had some really bad outings.
the money that they committed to him and the role that they expected him to take. Like, you knew Painter could have some struggles.
Yeah.
Luzardo has to settle. Like, the Phillies can afford Painter to struggle and to make a move at the deadline for an arm, whether it be, from a team like the Giants, maybe the Angels move off of Soriano and he ends up going to the Phillies or something. But Luzardo's a guy that they can't afford to be bad.
Any final thoughts about the Phillies?
Nope,
Just
not aside
keep
from
winning.
my
Just keep
moment
winning the
of the
series.
week.
In one word, yes or no, is this hot Philly stretch who they really are?
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm going to say yes as well.
I think the direct answer to your question of who they have been over the last 14 games is who they are.
Yeah.
I think it's more who they are than the first part of the season.
Yeah. I want to be clear though, who that is still a tier or two below the best teams in baseball.
Yes.
Yeah.
But a team that could win
but
a
not
big
the
series.
worst team, but not the worst team in baseball.
Yes, and I do still feel that same way about the Mets. But the Phillies are a team that will be at least semi-competitive at worst because they're not going to be sellers, even if things fall off.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest thing is once they get in the playoffs, that's when they become, I think, a problem for other teams, like a big problem because of the pitching there.
Yeah, they got very good frontline pitching.
Well,
you got to make it first.
You got to make it first, but
they become a problem if they can get a third good game out of somebody.
Yeah.
Like, at some point, you have to get a third good game.
But even with the 1-2 with Wheeler, Sanchez.
But these lineups are, you're facing Atlanta, Chicago, San Diego, LA. Like, there's no guarantee that Sanchez and Wheeler just mow down those guys. Like, you're going to have to get some good pitching out of games 3 and 4 in those series. You can't just chalk those up as L's and expect to beat one of those teams.
I don't know. John's penciling that in right now.
Yeah. That's fine.
I think Luzardo is.
I think Luzardo could turn it around. I'm not saying I'm not saying the Phillies are cooked when they get there. I'm just saying if the pitching stayed exactly how it is now, I'd pick them to lose.
Yes, they need to figure out how to fill the back end of that rotation.
Yeah,
whether it's the guys they already have.
I just don't think the middle of the bullpen's good enough either to be confident enough to use Luzardo as a 3-inning opener and be like, we'll go 6 deep with the bullpen. I don't feel that way either.
Right, you can't piggyback Painter on Luzardo.
Yeah. So, but the Phillies getting an additional arm at the starter at the deadline isn't tough work. You get Luzardo back to a 4 ERA and go out and get a decent arm and you'll be fine.
Let's move on from one second place team to another.
Yep.
Yankees 2-5 coming into today from last week, 2-1 versus the Rangers. Got swept by Milwaukee, lost the first game of the set to Baltimore.
They did win today.
Killed that 4-game losing streak, and they did win today. 26-16 coming in, so 27-16 now. 5-5 in their last 10, about 2 games back of the Rays. Up 6 for wild card 1, though. A plus 72 run differential. Like I said before, second in the AL East. They are still 1-5 versus teams over 500. When do we start getting worried about that?
I think it's okay to be a little concerned. I don't think it's, some alarming thing like sound the alarms, this team's fraudulent. But I think when you're talking about what the aspirations are for the Yankees being a World Series title, getting swept by Milwaukee isn't great. And I will say, in defense of the Yankees, 2 of those games are 4-3. Right. One ball goes a different way. They, they could have won 2 games there. And the 6-0 game was against the Miz. So, like,
two walk-off wins for the Brewers.
right. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not good, but it's not like you were thoroughly outclassed by Milwaukee game after game. And that's
Right.
like, if that series had looked like the Toronto playoff series, I would have been like, okay, like some real concern here. But we have seen the Yankees in previous seasons get healthy on crappy teams. And well, you want your team to be able to beat bad competition. You want them to be able to beat good competition too. I did think the 2-1 series win both times over Texas was a good sign because despite their record being 19-22, I do think Texas is like a better team than given credit for. So
Absolutely.
and Aaron Boone said it, like they just had a bad stretch of baseball. It just came at an inopportune time for me optically, but they still have the by far best run differential in the American League. It's just not even close. To me, on paper, the team is still the best. I know Tampa is playing great, and like we're going to talk about Tampa in a little bit, and like I have no problem giving them their flowers, like they are doing what the Rays do. Like the second everybody picked against them, they're massively competing and like could compete for this division. But I think there's a reason why you look at any book out there that's got odds that's willing to put money up against it. The Yankees are the favorite in the AL. I don't think that is incorrect.
No, it's not correct. No, it is. Yeah, it's not correct. The Yankees should be the favorites.
Yeah.
Do you remember who the one team the Yankees did beat that's over 500?
Oh, man. I mean, who's over 500 right now? I don't think did they beat the Athletics?
They took one game in that athletic series.
Yeah. But it's also weird to think that this is a team that swept the Mariners. They've beaten up on the Rangers, like teams that like we thought were going to be over 500. So
and
like swept Boston, who like obviously Boston's kind of like a pitfall, so maybe like they're not worth talking about. But
Boston was a team that we thought was going to be a solid team.
Yeah, and I still think Seattle and Texas are solid teams. So
absolutely. I mean, it's tough because you have to play who's on your schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you look at the upcoming schedule for the Yankees, you play the Mets this weekend. That was supposed to be a great series.
That just smells like the Yankees losing 2 of those games somehow, though.
Then you go on to play Toronto, who has been massively struggling.
Yeah.
Then you play the Rays again. That's your next real strong test.
Yeah, and I think the whole week as a whole is pretty important. The one thing I will say that makes me uber confident about the Yankees is the starting pitching. Like,
beyond.
They just have, dare I say, the best rotation in baseball.
And
like
deepest.
Once you factor Garrett Cole coming back, like with the Skubal injury and with the Crochet injury, we talked about this last week, but they have the top 2 odds-on Cy Young winners in Schiller and Max Fried right now. And they're going to be getting back a former Cy Young winner in Garrett Cole. And they got back Carlos Rodon, who, albeit didn't have an amazing first start, but the thing that stuck out to me is the velocity was as high as it's ever been in a Yankee uniform. And, it seems like that cleanup procedure was worth it for him. So
they're 9 deep, 8-9 deep in the rotation?
Right. And when you look at that, you're like, great, they have a ton of pitching depth, but also great, they have tons of ammo to make them. Like a Lindor trade wouldn't put a dent in what the Yankees have built up pitching depth wise and prospect wise. And I think that's a good spot to be. And we talked about this last week when you weren't on, so I'm interested to kind of hear more your thoughts on it. But obviously they just they called Volpe up today because of the Caballero injury. But I feel like the Yankees this year, in totality, on the field and off the field, have been moving in a much more competent sense.
They're operating on a completely different level It's for the first time ever. It feels like they sense urgency.
Yeah.
Like they're making tough decisions, sending Heel down when they did. Sending Volpe down and not just giving him the spot. Allowing Ben Rice to actually play versus lefties.
Yep.
Having an actual platoon and then riding the hot hand between McMahon and Rosario.
Yep.
It's crazy to think about, but
didn't they overhaul their analytics team this offseason? I feel like I remember that happening, and it felt like and I apologize to anybody who falls in this category, but it feels like they replaced them with like just a bunch of math nerds with guys who like actually know baseball.
The only things really holding them back are still Trent Grisham at leadoff, where he doesn't have the on base that you'd kind of like at that position.
Mm-hmm.
But he has still been playing very well, and he's been one of the most unluckiest players statistically.
I mean, he hit a 3-run homer today too. So
right.
I just think Grisham's much more of a middle of the lineup guy than he is a leadoff guy, and I do believe that. Again, that's where like a Lindor trade to me starts to make a ton of sense, because shortstop isn't a position that you clearly feel is locked up by any means.
And Caballero was never going to be the long-term solution. He is an elite bench bat.
Yeah, and Caballero could play second. He could play short. He could play in the outfield. Like, he's a fantastic utility piece, and Lindor would solve that leadoff issue. I also think, like, if you can call up the Royals and get a Michael Garcia, like, to play third base, because I don't think McMahon or Rosario is the long-term solution there either. So,
what a Matt Chapman from the Giants.
I think it's worth a call. I don't think he solves the leadoff issue, but he's an improvement. I wouldn't pay that contract.
Just because
me and John talked about that last week, like that Adames contract. I mean, based on what the contract is, like if you're eating it all, you probably have to give up almost nothing. So in that sense, maybe it's worth the shot. But again, with a potential salary cap looming, if you're the Yankees, do you really want to be on the hook for the Adames contract if there isn't like a grandfathering in period? Like, at least with Lindor, there's MVP level upside player when he is hot. Like, I just at his best, Adames has never been in a tier with Lindor at his best.
Right. I'm just trying to think, because I think the Giants are going to tear it down.
Yeah, and listen, Chapman I think would be a good get personally. Like, if the Yankees said like screw it, like the price on Lindor is too high, the leadoff bat, like it's just not something we're going to be able to get. But hey, we got Matt Chapman. Like, that'd be an upgrade.
I mean, you don't lose anything defensively because Chapman is better than McMahon defensively.
Mm-hmm.
And McMahon's
a better bat.
And a better bat. So you don't really need a platoon. You could probably send a McMahon or Rosario in that deal.
Yeah. What's Chapman doing this year? Matt Chapman's batting .229 right now, but he's got a 1.0 WAR, 14 RBIs, 8 doubles. So, not having a great season.
No, but
OBP is at 310 though. So,
how old is he now?
Chapman is sitting at a crisp, clean 33.
So what it'll take to get him won't be too much. I don't believe he's got too much.
I mean, listen, and because I don't think it'll take too much to get him, you could get him in a shortstop.
Yeah.
Like, you could get Chapman and Michael Garcia. I mean, if you really threw all the chips on the table, you can get Chapman and Lindor and just completely revamp the left side of your infield, because you're like, the AL's weak, Judge is 33 years old, like, let's go. And
that's really how they need to operate. This year is shaping up to be their best option. I mean, 2024.
I didn't think that they were going to get a better opportunity than 2024, but if they play their cards right at the deadline, I think that they could have a better opportunity than they had.
2024, the Dodgers were a juggernaut.
Yeah.
Even on the National League side.
And not only that, like, I know they had Soto, but this team is better. Like
They are.
like
The pivot after losing Soto to the Mets.
like the drop off from Soto to Bellinger isn't anywhere close to like Nestor Cortez isn't on a team and he was like a high leverage arm. Like we
Yeah.
didn't have Cam Schlittler. Like we didn't have the
Max
bullpen.
Fried.
And no Max Fried, which we'll see what he is in the playoffs. But Bednar, Jazz had kind of just gone to the Yankees. Like Ben Rice wasn't what he was now. Like it was Anthony Rizzo at the end of his career playing. So I just think in totality, and then if you add to that, like the Yankees getting Chapman, getting Garcia, or getting Lindor, this team would ultimately clear that team, even though Soto's better than Bellinger.
The Yankees need to be,
and the Dodgers are probably worse.
Right. The
if
Yankees
that's who
need
you're
to
facing.
be going all in. The Dodgers are worse. You just said it.
Yeah.
There's blood in the water. We're going to talk about Tampa in a minute, but I don't think Tampa has it in them to be a World Series, a strong World Series contender. They will be pesky throughout the regular season. But the Yankees need to exercise those demons with Tampa just like they need to do with Houston, because just like we think of the Jose Altuve home run with Aroldis Chapman smiling, the Mike Brasso one lives rent-free in my head just as much.
Yeah.
And I think you're getting Cole back. You got Rodon back. You're probably going to bump a Weathers or even a Schlittler to the pen.
Not a Schlittler.
Well, hear me out.
No.
I think the issue is
you're not going to – this guy could win the Cy Young this
year.
Well,
again, I'm not saying I believe it because I don't, but I'm going based off of what
a 1.35 ERA
Yankees would do.
No, who's getting bumped to the bullpen is Weathers and or Warren. And Warren's got nice bullpen.
I don't want Schlittler to get bumped.
But and Warren's got nice stuff. Or maybe the Yankees just go 6-man rotation to conserve Schlittler.
Garrett Cole's thoughts on a 6-man.
Well, I hate to break it to him, but he's probably the third best pitcher on the team now. I don't know if he gets to throw that weight around. Like,
isn't that awesome? That
I'm just saying, like, would be honestly, do you have more confidence in, like, going? Like, obviously, we don't know what Cole looks like, but like the playoff start, it's Fried, and then it's Schlittler. Cole is probably starting Game 3.
I don't know if I put Fried above Schlittler at this point.
Yeah,
I probably have more faith in Schlittler than any pitcher on the staff.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's crazy to say. I also don't think it's crazy with what we saw both guys do in the playoffs last year. Be like, let's give Schlittler the ball first.
Well, Fried has always, for some reason, been
you might go
bad start.
You might go Schlittler Cole based on playoff track record.
Yeah, Cole has been a great playoff arm. He had one blow-up start versus Boston years ago and is
stabilized. Garrett Cole could be back to being a 2.
And then Rodon, I believe in still.
Yeah.
It was a very encouraging start.
Again, the velocity is really nice.
Weathers is pitching his best ball in his career.
Same with Will Warren, leads the team in strikeouts.
And then you still have ERC in the wings, who honestly did not look bad at all.
He could be a long reliever.
Luis Heel, I think, should always have been a bullpen arm.
Yeah, I think Luis Heel will be on a new team, but I hear you.
I believe I came on here saying that we should trade Luis Heel for Kyle Tucker after Luis Heel's rookie year. Because I did not believe.
That aged well. I'm not sure if the Astros would have done it, but it didn't age poorly.
No. And then, obviously, LeGrande out there as well.
Yeah, the Yankees are in a fine spot. Hated seeing them lose to the Brewers, but they're still the odds-on favorite to win the AL for a reason.
I am not worried about the Yankees, and that feels weird to me.
Hey, welcome to the sane side.
Well, let's talk about the insane side. The Tampa Bay Rays. Voodoo, hoodoo, black magic. I don't know what they got going on. 27-13 best record in the AL, 9-1 in their last 10. They only have a plus 23 run differential, but they are 5-1 versus teams over 500. And most surprisingly, they've given up 29 runs over their last 17 games. That's pretty crazy. Their pitching has been lights out.
They do this every few years where all of a sudden you get a Tampa Bay Rays team that you're like, oh, like they just play great ball and they finally got enough dudes. Like on the offensive side, like Simpson, 314 with some of the best speed, if not the best speed in baseball. Caminero at third, 11 homers. Aranda, 33 RBIs. You still have Yandy Diaz, who's 293 and a 1.4 right now. Cedric Mullins is on this team, who is batting 145, but I still think he's a good outfielder personally. John DeLuca playing good ball. And then you go to the pitching side. It's like
Rasmussen has been really good.
43 strikeouts. And I'm not throwing any shade, but nobody was coming up here at the start of the season telling me Nick Martinez was going to have a 1.7 ERA at this point in time. Like we knew McClanahan had the 2.27 ERA upside, but nobody thought Martinez was going to be balling the way he is right now. And it's just like, here come the Rays again. And all of a sudden a team that we all had, I think, written in stone as fifth in this division.
It was a unanimous last, I think.
Is potentially going to win it. Like the games that they have versus the Yankees will probably determine who wins this division.
Absolutely.
Not to mention they're doing this all without Pepiot.
I was just about to say that. No side Pepiot.
And they're doing this all when Griffin Jacks is not playing great ball.
And that trade for Griffin Jacks makes a lot more sense last year now because they're a good team.
Yeah.
It's just crazy how Kevin Cash is such a great manager.
I mean, manager of the year could be loading up for sure.
I just don't know if I believe in them in October. To me, they kind of feel like the Brewers last year, where they're a team that nobody really picked to do it, and they were just great all regular season, and they just won a marathon, but they couldn't win a sprint.
Aside from the Yankees, who would you pick in the AL to beat them in a playoff series?
I can think of a couple teams I would still pick over them.
I would pick because I think the Mariners are the only ones that I would probably favor. But everybody else, I'd go Tampa.
I mean, if the Tigers had Skubal, maybe, but without him,
even with Skubal, I don't
even believe that the Tigers are going to make it.
Not anymore.
But I do believe in the Rangers. I think Eovaldi, DeGrom, I think they could give the Rays a run for their money.
I would still take Tampa. I'd take Tampa over Cleveland. I just think they're a better version of Cleveland. I'd take Tampa over the A's. I don't think that the A's are built for the long term. I lean Seattle and the Yankees just because I think that their pitching staff would hold up better in the playoffs. But the way that the Rays have been pitching, it's tough to say that they wouldn't be great. But I also think that the Yankees have a far superior lineup. But I do think
we start to think that the Rays are going to win the division. Is this a race that'll go deep into September, or do we start to think that, hey, maybe the Rays will win it and it's August? Right now, I still think the Yankees will fairly easily come back and overtake them.
Let's check the schedule and see when these guys all play each other in the second half. There's a series at New York, September 22nd through September 24th. That's a 3-game set. And that's the only time they play in the second half of the season.
Thank you, baseball schedulers.
I think it's going to come down to that series. I think we are looking at this late into September. Because when the Rays do this, it's not for just half of a season. They're just a consistently good team. And that's just who they are then for that year. And I've learned my lesson from doubting them in years past. So I think that I don't think that we'll definitively know who won the division until after that series. But yeah, so September, man. I don't think the Rays are going to fall off. I think they're the real deal. I think they're legit.
Let's go on to a first place team in the AL West. Who wants to cover the Sacramento A's?
The Sacramento A's. I mean, they're in first place, 21-19. Think they have a -6 run differential.
Yep.
And they are like 6th in batting average and 23rd in ERA, 44 home runs teams. But I mean, like, they're first in this, what seems to be a weak AL West thing, because you have the Mariners, I think now a game and a half out with only a +12 run differential. You have the Rangers in third with a -1 run differential at 20 and 22. You have the Angels in fourth, -30 run differential. And the Astros, like, in last, 16-27 with a -44 run differential. I mean, are they? I mean, I don't know pitching wise, but I mean, it seems like they have, like, offensively, the bats are going. Like, are they good enough here to, like, possibly end up winning the West here? Like, just with how bad the other teams have been. I mean,
I hate to be negative. I really do. I don't think they have a shot.
Not at all.
Like, I just think one of Seattle or Texas, like, they're already on their heels. Like, I was gonna say, like, they'll
just got hurt as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, they'll catch up, but, like, Seattle's 2 games back. Like, it's May, they're 2 games back. It's not like they have a lot of work to do at this point in time. And I just don't trust the rotation of Savali, Luis Severino, and Jeffrey Springs to hold up the way that I do Seattle's rotation. And then, like, you look at the bats, and, like, that is how the A's are going to have to win games, which is kind of what we thought coming into the season. And I think that they can compete with Texas for that second wild card spot. I think Shea Langoliers is, like, an early MVP candidate the way he's performing right now. 336 batting average, 11 home runs, 22 RBIs. Like, the dude's been an absolute dog. But there's a reason why when you look at the odds, the Vegas odds for this team, they're still 5-1 to win this division, the third best odds in the division. Because Vegas knows what I just said. They still, on paper, have the third best roster, and it's only May.
But wild card not out of the question, though.
No. I think playoff
like,
A's, especially in the AL, could be a reality. I mean, when you look at the AL East, I feel like we're probably only getting 2 teams there, Tampa and New York. You look at the Central, like, you could argue we're only going to get, like, you can make a case Seattle, Texas, and the A's all make it.
It's very, very possible.
So I think playoff A's is legit.
I think the A's have a very strong chance to be a final wild card team. I think the AL is just that weak, and I think that the A's, like we were saying before the season, could be a very, very pesky team. Kurtz, Langoliers, Wilson when he's healthy, like, they have a lot of talent. It's a matter of, can they develop pitching? They need front top line pitching. They don't have that. Severino, we all know Severino fairly well. He's not that guy anymore.
I mean, he was that guy in the WBC.
Yes. I love some Sevy, but
I think, listen, the A's in a playoff game with Sevy on the mound, that's a dangerous out. I'll say that. But I don't think over the course of 162, it's enough to win the division. But I don't think, like, you want to see that, like, the A's, we know baseball could be about, like, who gets hot. And I think the A's in a wild card best of 3 are a scary freaking team for anybody to face.
Yeah, they're not.
That lineup could put up 10 any day.
But they can also give up 20 when they score 10.
Yeah. Do you think they buy at the trade deadline?
Think they don't do anything.
I think they hold, because I think by the time we get to the deadline, they're in third place.
Like,
if they were still in first by the deadline, then I think they buy.
What if they were like a game, like a couple games out of first? Like they were just
They won't. Then they won't do anything. They'll be. If we
I think
make
it
the playoffs,
depends. I think it
great.
depends. I think it depends how cheap they can get an arm. I think it depends how cheap. I think if like the Twins were bad and like Pablo Lopez was available, I think like that's like a move you could see them make because it's like, hey, like this guy could be part of the future too. But I don't see them being the Peralta team. I don't see them being the Lindor. You know what I mean? Like these big names that we've talked about. Like I don't think they're going to end up in Sacramento, Oakland, Vegas. But
they're not going to be the Willie Adames team either because they're not.
I also think that's the right thing to do. By the way, like I think the right thing to do is to stand pat and like maybe add a veteran arm if you're them.
Let's go on to the Chicago Cubs.
The Cubbies, the team I brought to the table, the team that did we all unanimously pick them to win the NL Central? I think so. And now they're on top of it. They have lost 3 in a row, but they are 7-3 in their last 10. The Brewers are 8-2 in their last 10 on a 5-game win streak. So like the division starting to kind of turn into the 2-team race that I think we all thought. For starters, the Cubs at home versus the Cubs on the road. I don't know if you guys know this, but on the road, the Cubs are 9-10, which if you can do the math, they're 18-5 at home. Like they're just way better at Wrigley this year. The Boyd injury really does suck. But he should be back sooner rather than later for them. Like he'll be back at some point this season, I believe. They're heavily rumored to be a team in on Freddie Peralta, and I think it makes perfect sense for them. Like their window is definitely right now, and they're looking to compete. Nico Horner, who they extended, leads the team in batting average, hits, and RBIs. Bregman is starting to put it together. PCA batting average isn't great, but the fielding is still ridiculous every time he's out there. Seiya Suzuki, he was hurt at the beginning of the year, but he's coming along well for them, and he's second on the team in home runs. Ian Happ is having a really solid power year as well. Carson Kelly at the catcher position, solid. Like there's room to grow for the lineup. Shota Imanga having a great year, 2.28 ERA. Edward Cabrera, 3.88. Tyone, sub 4 ERA. Again, when Boyd gets back and gets healthy, you hope that he can kind of get back to who he was. And I'll tell you what, man, if this team added a Peralta and a strong closer, they could give the NL a run for their money. And they could win it all.
Oh, absolutely. PCA, Seiya Suzuki, they got some real great players. And we were talking about, maybe they move on from a Nico Horner or something. But no, it makes no sense with the way they're humming right now.
Just too good of a ball player, man. Like at the end of the day, like every team wants Nico Horner. Yeah. And the way that I kind of like attribute that basketball wise, like prime Klay Thompson, man. Like he was just gonna fit on every team. It didn't matter. And he's not like a superstar, but he's a great option. Great in Horner. When he's up to bat, wonderful. Game on the line, the ball gets hit to him. You feel great if you're a Cubs fan.
Can we just talk about the Cubs, like in general, for their defense? If you watch them play, they look insane.
They're smooth.
I would think like one of the best defensive baseball teams in the league right now. And
again, like a lineup that I don't think has reached its peak yet. They've scored 217 runs, and I just that's what third most in the NL at this point in time, and I still feel like there's room to grow for this lineup.
And that's what I was currently constructed. How much higher can this offense get? Like, where do you see them possibly improving and taking to another level?
I just think the batting average can go up for guys like Bregman's batting 240 right now. Like that could easily improve. PCA's batting 240, that could improve. Like I just think some of their players could get better some teams have got like Brandon Marsh, for example, for the Phillies. So I think he's going to finish the year batting 350. Like, no, he's probably going to regress. Trey Turner's going to get better. Like Nico Horner leads the Cubs in batting average. And he's batting 273. Like, I don't see anybody on their team that I think is going to regress. It's just guys that I think can get better in a lineup that already produces pretty often. The Cubs are dangerous, man, and I think they're being underrated right now. It's kind of why I brought them up. Like, I think that they
take on the Dodgers in a playoff series in October.
If they get Freddie Peralta, yes.
But if they don't, and they're just what they are now.
I think that they got to be the hotter team, which is possible, but I like if they got Peralta, I genuinely think it's a 50-50 series. Right now, I'd say probably 65-35 LA.
I think that's fair. Let's go and do some studs, duds, and rookies. I'm going to start off with my stud, Kyle Schwarber of the Phillies. Dude's been on fire. I see that smile, John. He's given you a lot to smile about. 5 games, 22 at-bats. He's got 8 hits, 5 of them for homers, 7 RBIs. So that's a little, solo shotty right there. 364 average, a 1.482 OPS. Schwarbs has been on fire, and he's a big reason why the Phillies are turning around the ship. My dud, Arizona first baseman, Indamaro Vargas. 6 games, 23 at-bats. He's got 3 hits. He struck out 4 times. He's hitting 130 with a 297 OPS. No extra base hits, all singles. The Diamondbacks, after they went to the World Series versus the Rangers a couple years ago, they've really fallen off a cliff.
Yeah, they were a team that I was like, maybe they get back to what they were, but they haven't.
What do you guys have?
My stud is James Wood from the Washington Nationals. He's batting .333 over the last week. He's got a homer that was a leadoff homer that was just absolutely rocketed. 3 RBIs, 3 doubles, 6 hits, and 18 at-bats. He's only struck out 4 times, 4 walks to his credit as well. He's just been a really, really solid piece for the Nationals this year, and a bright spot on their team, truthfully. And then my dud is going to be Trevor Story of the Boston Red Sox. He's been, pretty bad, and, he got plunked with a pitch, so maybe we could feel a little bit bad for him. But the strikeout numbers are in the double digits right now. The batting is in the 100. He just has not been good over the last week, man.
Question about Story real quick. Mm-hmm. Does Bo Bichette to the Mets kind of feel like when Trevor Story signed with the Red Sox? A confusing move, kind of out of position.
I think Story felt like a Red Sox. I thought he should have played I don't know, because Bogaerts didn't want to move to second when Bogaerts should have moved to second, and I think Boston was like, shoot, man, we thought you would move to second. I think that's what messed that all up.
Right.
My stud, another Philly, Brandon Marsh, the batting leader, 11 for 22, batting .500, 1.111 OPS, 3 RBIs. I mean, he's been their, I think, best player, one of their best players, just hitting wise. After Schwarber, just absolutely just hitting everything. To the point where they're even walking him now instead of pitching to him. My stud, Seattle Mariner catcher Cal Raleigh. I think up until tonight, he did not have a hit in May. And he had 2 hits tonight. But up until tonight, he was 0 for 36 in his last bats. And he's batting... So he's batting right now. He's batting 166 on the year, on the season right now. But I mean, not he went from MVP candidate last year to literally one of the worst players.
I mean, fair.
I mean, he's not having a good start.
That's that post 60 homer slump. Let's go to our rookies, though. For me, it's going to be Washington pitcher Foster Griffin. At Miami last week, he won the game, went 7 deep, gave up 4 hits, 2 runs, only 1 earned, had a 1.29 ERA over the course of that game. 1 walk, 9 strikeouts. Hitters were hitting 154 against him. A great showing from a team that has a lot of young talent.
Yeah, my rookie is going to be Travis Bazzana of the Guardians. Obviously a guy that they want to be a foundational piece for them going forward. I think in the last week or so, we've seen him start to figure it out a little bit. He's had a hit in, I believe, 4 4 of their last 6 games. He's got 4 RBIs in their last 5 games. He's got 7 total bases in their last 5 games. Like, he's a guy that's starting to figure it out. Yeah, we had a funny clip this past week where he challenged a pitch. It just hit the zone, and he apologized to the umpire. So already getting in good with the umps in the league as well. You like to see that from a young rook, but Bazana, man, a guy to keep an eye on for sure.
Mine's going to be Blue Jays rookie catcher Brandon Valenzuela. I think last 7 games, 5 for 18, 1 home runs, 4 RBIs, 270 batting average. And I think 4 of those hits came in 1 game. He had a 4-hit game this past week. So
Pretty crazy. All right. Let's talk moments of the week. For me, Dylan brought it up earlier. Trevor Story got plunked by Framber Valdez. Valdez ended up getting a 5-game suspension. He is back now.
That was an accident.
It was not an accident. He hit him after giving up back-to-back homers to Wilson Contreras and Wilyer Abreu.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody's had a worse week for my fantasy team than Framber Valdez.
10 runs in 3+ innings. His worst start as a Tiger, possibly his worst start in his career. Framber was so good in Houston, and he just hasn't been anywhere remotely close. And now I'm starting to see why he didn't get that big deal that we all thought he would get.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't mean to put your moment to shame, but my moment of the week, massive celebrity, superstar celebrity at the Philadelphia Phillies game, Elmo was in the booth, and he was there for the Rockies game. He was talking about the great Italian food he had when he was in the city of Philadelphia, talking about how he loves the Phillies because they're the color red. Like, it was just great stuff all around. Talking about how he hates rocks, but, no beef with the Rockies.
That was funny.
don't forget he went to see a home run, and
Yep.
Alec Boehm delivered with 2.
Yeah, and then he's actually revealed that he's cousins with the Fanatic, which I didn't know. So a little bit of history there.
So does that make the Fanatic a Nepo baby?
Well, some people, are related to rich people, but they don't get the money. Like, I still think the Fanatic made it out the mud. I just, he just has a rich cousin.
It's all about who you know and who you're related to.
Yeah.
The Fanatic didn't get it on merit.
It's like how Bruce Buffer and Michael Buffer went their whole lives not knowing that they were related. I don't know if you guys knew that, but
I did not.
No.
They didn't know that they were related until they were both had made it to the top of their industry, which is the same industry.
So it's the Elmo Fanatic.
Yeah. We just witnessed history.
Moment of the week is Bobby Wood Jr. hit an inside the park home run against the Tigers because Matt Carpenter played the ball off the side of the wall really, really poorly. Not Matt Carpenter. Kerry Carpenter. My bad.
I was like, Matt Carpenter. Matt Carpenter.
I'm looking at notes. I'm looking at notes I have, and I'm doing stuff. Yeah, Kerry Carpenter. But yeah, played it really poorly off the wall.
Yankee legend Matt Carpenter.
Yeah, Matt Carpenter plays for the Tigers now.
Matt Carpenter evolved into Trent Grisham.
All right, our weekly series highlight. For me, San Diego at Seattle. Possible World Series matchup, question mark? If you believe in the Mariners, then it could be. San Diego,
but a good matchup.
San Diego swept the series back in April in San Diego. Reverse from last year. The Mariners had taken 5 out of the 6 they played last year. The big things to look at, Machado, Tatis, Raleigh, they're all freezing cold. Meanwhile, J-Rod is heating up, and Mason Miller is on an all-time tear.
Yep.
So it's going to be interesting to see how Mason Miller mows down the Mariners and J-Rod lights up their starting pitching.
Yeah, so I'm behind the curtain here. I submitted my weekly series last of our group and couldn't believe that the Subway Series between the Yankees and Mets was still available. I can't lie to you and say that it's a World Series preview potentially, but it's a fun series nonetheless.
Some of us knew Dylan was working late and figured they'd let him have the easy one.
Judge, Soto, Future Yankee Lindor. We'll see what it turns out to be.
My weekly highlights just the Phillies at the Pirates. 'Cause I just really excited to see that series. Just because, interstate matchup, possibly, implications for the 6th wild card spot there. Because I think the Pirates can they're probably fighting the Phillies for that last wild card spot. So just, I'm looking forward to watching it. That's all I can really say. This is more for me. I'm just looking forward to watching the series.
That's fair.
On Dylan's Yankee Met point, I do want to look at what that pitching matchups are in that series.
I know Rodon's got one of the games.
So you got the first game, you got Cam Schlittler versus Clay Holmes. Then you go Carlos Rodon versus Huascar Brazoban. And you finish it up, Ryan Weathers versus Freddie Peralta.
I mean, I think it could be Garrett Cole versus Freddie Peralta.
I don't. I think Cole still needs a little bit more time.
We'll see.
But I think, I give the Yankees the edge in pitching. But
Pull out the brooms.
for which side? You did say you could see the Yankees losing two out of 3 in the series.
Yeah, but then you said they play the Blue Jays, and that'll definitely be the series that they lose more games in because that one's more important.
See, I think the more heartbreaking thing would be that they sweep the Mets 2 out of 3 or whatever from the Blue Jays, and then they just get swept by Tampa right after.
That would also be heartbreaking.
I think that's the most likely that you go into Tampa having taken 2 out of 3 from Baltimore, 2 out of 3 from the Mets, 2 out of 3, 3 out of 4 from the Blue Jays, whatever it is, and then just dominated by Tampa. 1-0 every game. That's the likely way it goes. But for John, Pauline, Dylan, Mel, I'm Corey Jason. This has been the Outsider Sports Baseball Podcast. Signing off.